The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill. A breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help. Just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
The human voice. It can be sweet as music, powerful as thunder,
and so, my fellow Americans,
cheerful as laughter. But for millions of people, it can also be a sign of COPD. This serious lung disease can make it so hard to breathe, you often can't catch a breath or finish a sentence, let alone carry a tune. And many who have COPD don't even know it. That's where your voice comes in. If you think you or a loved one have symptoms, talk with a healthcare provider. Early diagnosis can mean better treatments and quality of life. Join us in raising our voices for the millions with COPD who can't. Learn more, breathe better at NIH.gov.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
It's a huge burden lifted financially, and so it allows you to give singular focus to your child. I've never known a hospital that takes care of their patients so thoroughly.
That was the first thing I was like, how are we going to do this? When they told us that we didn't have to pay a single bill, I was like, wow. They pretty much have saved us.
It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders, and now your focus is supporting this child.
There is not another hospital like St. Jude. The patient care is unmatchable. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Good morning to you, liberty lovers and ecclesiastites all across the globe, as well as all of you Antifas and you Occupy Wall Streeters and you Nazis and you fascists and you, who else is there? And you KKK people and you, KKK, you Black Lives Matter. All of y'all, welcome to this hump day. Yes, it is Hump Day, September number 6 in the year of our Lord 2017. Welcome aboard. Call-in number this morning is 603-835-3226. That is the call-in hotline. I got it. Well, we're gonna get into the this hurricane mess in just a second. But I got to last night I did some late tweeting. And they had the hashtag, was it DACA protest? We'll get into that as well later this morning. But I got to tell you, I mean, the stuff that is out, you people, I've invited a lot of people to come listen to the program, a lot of liberals, a lot of people on the left side of the political aisle. And the reason why I do it, it's not to increase my listener numbers. My listener numbers keep going up month after month, so I'm not worried about that. The point is that you people, I cannot believe what you believe. There are people out there that actually believe, and this is the first. Now, I used to think it was a joke. This is the first I've really heard of it. This is the first time I've actually seen it in writing where people actually believe this. That Bush 43 and that Trump 45 somehow have the ability to control the direction of hurricanes. And I am not kidding. I am not kidding you folks. They actually believe this. They actually believe that Bush 43, and Bush 43, now people used to say this in jest, at least I thought, about Bush 43 and Katrina. Now, Bush caused Katrina to head in Louisiana because there were nothing but black and brown people in Louisiana because, New Orleans was, like 60 or 70 or 80% chocolate. It was a chocolate city before Katrina. It was going to be a chocolate city after Katrina. That's what Mayor Ray Nagin said. Now, I just thought they were blustering, to tell you the truth. That's honestly what I thought. And now I see this with Hurricane Harvey hitting Texas. And Hurricane Irma bearing down on Florida. And there are actually people on Twitter talking about, how few white people are left in Miami, and it was a brown and black city basically, because of blacks and Cubans and other Latinos and Puerto Ricans. They're all in Miami, and that that Trump was going to bring Irma down to. And you had people out there saying Trump and others in the Trump administration were keeping Irma out to sea to make it stronger. They actually believe this crap. They're printing it. Now, at first you look at this and you think, well, they're trying to be funny. It's a, poor joke, poor delivery, all that kind of stuff. You're not really getting it in print form. It probably sounds better, and it's probably funnier if they're actually delivering it live someplace, vocally. But no, it turns out they actually believe this stuff. Somehow they believe this stuff. I don't know how. I guess we got some sort of, secret military UFO weather machine that we got from one of the crashed UFOs out there in Area 51. By the way, there's also something about Area 51. It's getting a little more difficult to keep things a secret in Area 51 because people have drones. And not only can drones sneak on into the airspace of Area 51, but people are putting like these really good cameras on drones that can zoom in from a good distance away. So they're trying to get pictures of what's happening deep inside Area 51. I don't know how successful they're going to be. They're just going to start shooting those stupid little drones down, and people are going to start getting arrested because now drones have to be registered, right? You got to register. Well, now we're probably going to have throwaway drones like we have throwaway cell phones. You're probably going to end up with throwaway drones. I don't know. Maybe people didn't think of that, and I just gave them the idea. But there you go. Throwaway drones. Always in the cutting edge of criminality here. I expose the criminal and what they're thinking so easily. Well, it's because I watch a lot of crime TV. I watch a lot of crime. So there's going to be throwaway drones. They're not going to be registered. They're going to have the serial numbers filed off. They're going to have scrambled signals and all that kind of stuff. And so they're not going to be able to trace them. And they're going to fly these things into Area 50. I'm surprised they haven't already gotten pictures out of Area 51 like this already. Tell you the truth, but. Who knows? Maybe they'll start putting up these things that will scramble signals. So like a jammer. So these radio control things can't actually be controlled or fly. They may already do that. I don't know. I'm not down there near Area 51. So those of you down there, you know what's happening. Test it out for me. But in any case, you have people thinking. So maybe they got these drones. That's it. Trump has got a drone flying around out there, controlling Irma. Because now we've got the drama. I mean, we had drama with Harvey because it's the first hurricane that was going to hit the United States in nearly 12 years. It's like 144 or 145 months. It's almost 12. Well, it was 140. It was like 142 or 100. It was almost 12 years to the day that we had a hurricane hit the mainland USA. So, of course, they were making a big deal out of that simply because it was the first hurricane in 12 years, in over a decade. I noticed Bush 43 didn't get any credit for keeping hurricanes away after Katrina because evidently he learned his lesson. And, he didn't want any more powerful hurricanes hitting the U.S. coast, so he kept hurricanes away. And then Obama, I guess, he got the reins and was able to, because 8 years is all Obama served, which means part of that 12 years had to be during Bush 43's tenure. So Bush got rid of the hurricanes. I mean, how come that, if they're going to believe this crap, how come they're not saying that Bush got rid of the hurricanes? Bush got rid of the hurricanes. He just said, I've had enough of hurricanes. I don't want to be blamed anymore, from black and brown people drowning in a black-controlled city. I don't want to be blamed for that. And so no more hurricanes. That's what Bush 43 said. That's what he ordered, and we didn't have him for a decade. Over a decade. And so Trump, I guess, he decided, well, I guess maybe we're just going to have to let Mother Nature take its course and show him how good I can respond. And so he allowed a hurricane to hit Houston. And the response in Houston was, we don't know how Obama would have responded to a major hurricane like that because he didn't have one. He kept the hurricanes away. So Trump basically just let a hurricane come on through into Houston so he could show how good of a president he is and how good he could respond. And by the way, the response in the Houston, Galveston, Corpus Christi area has been phenomenal. As much damage has been done to I'm just going to call it the greater coastal Houston area. You're not hearing a lot of this, but they're expecting to be back to basically full strength a lot sooner than expected because the response from the people in all levels of government has been superb. And that's from the Trump administration down to the governor, down to the local county and local governments, along with the wonderful people of the state of Texas, like the Texas Navy, the new Louisiana Navy, all those volunteers, people coming in that understand how this stuff works, how flooding works, and coming in and helping people. And the communication has been, 100-fold better than it was in Katrina, even though their Houston stupid mayor almost blew it. So the response, and that is how you do it. They're showing the world how you respond to a major natural disaster like that. Question is will it be repeated in Florida if Irma makes its expected landfall? Now, according to some people, it's definitely going to hit Miami because that's where Trump wants it to go. And he's got control of this hurricane. And the drama has begun with this, the most powerful hurricane ever, which is wrong. I mean, I've seen the headline, most powerful hurricane ever. That's a flat-out lie. First of all, we don't know if it's the most powerful hurricane ever, and chances are that if it could happen now, it could happen at any time in the past because we've had we've had a hurricane, Category 4 and Category 5 hurricanes before we knew what Category 4 and Category 5 were. And we saw the devastation just in flatland. All this stuff has been, certain parts of these storms have been recorded. The human death toll has been tremendous in hurricanes past. So how about in times when we didn't have recording devices? It's 180, 185 miles an hour. Now, I learned something about hurricanes yesterday while looking at a lot of this stuff. Yeah, they show you they show you the path of these things, right? And they make the hurricane, and they put that hurricane symbol up there, and they make the hurricane look like it's just massive, 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 massive. And they make people believe that entire circle, that entire wispy circle thing is the hurricane. And that is going to be where the high winds are. No, it's not, actually. It's amazing how quickly the winds diminish the further out you get from the eye of the hurricane. See, the eye wall, the hurricanes are really tight. And the main winds of a hurricane happen around the eye wall. And the further that you get out from the eye wall, well, yeah, you're still going to get wind and rain and all, you can still get very powerful winds, gusting winds, but they're not the super winds that come in the hurricane. That's not the top speed of the hurricane in the outer areas. It's in that small, compact area of the eye. You get out from the eye it starts really diminishing about the eye is usually the strength of the eye is usually somewhere between, depending on the size of the storm, could be about 20 to 50 miles wide. That's it. That's the 185 miles an hour. That's where it's going to be. I know that's still devastating, but that's where it's going to be. And that's true with all hurricanes. It's just the way the natural phenomena works. You're not going to get a hurricane that's 500 miles wide and all 500 miles of it is going to be 180 miles per hour winds. It's just not the way hurricanes work. But this is what people believe, by the way. This is what they think because this is what they have been made to think and believe. Because of this sense of drama. Instead of just reporting the facts, they got to dramatize this thing. Every time there's a hurricane, it's got to be drama. Every time there's any natural disaster that's about to hit or has hit, earthquakes, tornadoes, they just can't tell you the facts. They got to give you the drama. And if there's not enough drama, they will create the drama. And the drama ends up scaring the hell out of people. And then people do some stupid stuff. Because of the drama. Well, yeah, hey, I'm gonna buy up all this stuff, in order to protect my house. Well, you get 180 mile per hour wind if you're in the path of the near eye of the storm. No plywood's going to help you. Plywood in your windows is not going to help your house. What's going to help you is you getting the hell out. But instead, what you got is a bunch of people on TV, newscasters, talking about, you got to prepare. So people run out and buy. The one interesting thing I find is that up here in the Northeast, New England, when there's a blizzard coming, get a good old-fashioned nor'easter. The grocery stores' shelves start to empty out. Now, I keep thinking to myself, when was the last time it took a week or a month for us to dig out of any snowstorm? Why do people buy all this stuff thinking that they got to settle down for a month, that they're going to be buried in snow? It usually takes a day or two. During the worst of storms, it takes a day or two, maybe in the outlying areas, for things to get cleared up. But they empty the shelves of just about everything. Now, I find it fascinating as well is that people are so trumped up about no pun intended. They're so trumped up and frightened by this drama that people run out and buy frozen food. Oh yeah, you gotta have frozen pizza and stuff for the storm. Well, if your power goes out, how are you gonna cook it unless you got gas? Two, isn't it gonna thaw out if the power stops and your freezer can't work? So it's gonna get ruined. Well, this is what people are doing down in Florida, too. It's what they did in Houston. Well, if you got flooding, isn't that going to short out all of your electrical appliances? Yeah, so you're not going to be able to cook. You're not going to have any power. You're not going to have, so they go out and buy generators. Why are you buying a generator? Generator's going to be underwater. No, I'm not saying not to buy one because it's good. It's good to have a portable generator or a whole house generator. But if you're doing it in order to protect your family from the floods and the storm and the surge, and all, it's going to be underwater. It ain't going to work. So why are you doing it? Because nobody thinks, because everybody gets hyped up on the drama. And that makes things a hell of a lot worse, by the way. We're not done with this. We'll be back. You're listening to me, your lovable host, Rod, here on the Rod Eccles Show.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
And now a message from our sponsor. Ladies, tired of drying your hair with the same old vacuum cleaner? Try Avon Shave brand new Beauty Locks portable hair dryer. It's smaller, it's faster, it's guaranteed to give you the hair you've always wanted in half the time. Beauty Locks is delicate and dainty, just like you. The dryer weighs only a pound and easily fits in your hand. Now that's beauty and convenience. With a speedy motor that will dry your hair in as little as 25 minutes, you can get gorgeous hair without falling behind schedule. Don't worry about the little ones or that pie in the oven. Thanks to an extra-long extension cord, you can move around while primping your locks. Forget those long trips to the salon and no more waiting for hours under monster machines. Avon Shea gives you an easy and speedy hairdo that will blow your man away. Get it now at your nearest Macy's.
You're listening to The Rod Eccles Show. Let truth be told.
A lot of stuff here with this Hurricane Irma. I got a lot of stuff to cover with Hurricane Irma. Plus, we have the intel report later this morning, so you're going to want to be around for that. Always get some good stuff and good information out of that. And we've been doing it long enough now that we're starting to see other news organizations catch up. Yeah, believe it or not, there have been a number of things that we've been first with the intel report here, reporting here first before you heard it someplace else. And I think that's awesome. And I'm sure most of you listeners out there would think that's awesome too. Now, if you're a new listener, you're in for a treat today because you're listening in on the day that we're going to have the intel report. And mark my words, if you're not getting this information in the lamestream media or any of the other big talking heads yet, the way things are going, our scorecard is basically going to say that sometime within the next few months, you're gonna hear it here first today, but sometime in the next few months, you're gonna hear it everywhere else and read it. And we're on this stuff. You know, Agent 0010 is he knows his stuff. He's awesome. So, you're definitely going to want to be here during the second hour of the program for that. By the way, let's quickly go through today's holidays. Not many today. Today is Barbie Doll Day. It marks the anniversary of the day that the Barbie doll first went on sale in 1959. So it's not the human Barbie doll, the actual Mattel Barbie doll. In 1959. So today is Barbie Doll Day. Today is also Fight Procrastination Day. Yes, get up off your duff and do something or do anything. Do everything that you've been, putting off because today is Fight Procrastination Day. Today is also the Great Egg Toss Day. It celebrates the sport of egg tossing. Now, there are many types of egg tossing games, and we're not going to go through it. There's a whole list of them. But so get out there and toss an egg, either boiled or raw. You can't toss scrambled eggs unless you can scramble it in the shell, but then it's If you put a hole in it, that's messy. Today is also National Coffee Ice Cream Day. Not Coffee Day, Coffee Ice Cream Day. So you get out there, I don't know, maybe your favorite ice cream store is going to have some, coffee-flavored ice cream is going to be on sale today. Today is also Read a Book Day, and it is also Stillbirth Remembrance Day. I don't know why people would want to remember stillbirths like that. But those are today's holidays. Hope you enjoy them.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals, because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We've got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and practice an escape plan for you and your loved ones. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov, because fire is everyone's fight.
Have you mixed your pain meds, your sleep meds, your allergy meds? Call the Poison Helpline. Has your child eaten a tube of toothpaste, a chip of paint, a wild mushroom? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you been bitten by a spider, a snake, an insect? Call the Poison Helpline. Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first for fast, free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Hi, I'm Hillary Duff. As a mom, I'm proud to support the March of Dimes in helping more women have full-term pregnancies and healthy babies. That's why I walk in March for Babies. The money we raise funds research and local programs that help babies overcome the challenges of premature birth and birth defects. Sign up today at marchforbabies.org. Together, we can help make healthier babies possible for thousands of families.
It's pretty amazing when you consider that 7 years ago, we didn't have the treatments we have now. We cure 80% of children with cancer. Go back 50 years, we were curing 20 to 30%. This is the miracle story of modern medicine. We understand what makes this cancer tick. And of course, without donors from around the world, this just couldn't happen. There's one thing we're focused on, and that's beating this thing.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
America's wounded warriors are coming home. After serving on foreign shores, these brave men and women are returning to their families and communities. Many have wounds you can see, and many have wounds you can't see, like post-traumatic stress disorder. Now that these warriors are back home, they are ready to enter the civilian workforce. To help, Wounded Warrior Project has developed the Warriors to Work program, a career counseling service that helps warriors translate their military experience to the civilian workplace. These extraordinary men and women bring proven world-class job skills and a unique perspective on teamwork to the job. And to ensure the right warrior finds the right job, Wounded Warrior Project works with employers to find just the right match. When you hire a wounded warrior, you hire an intelligent, talented, and committed new employee. Contact Wounded Warrior Project at findwwp.org. Welcome home the brave.
Oh, 835-3226 is the call-in hotline should you wish to utilize it this morning. Yesterday we had for those who tried to call in yesterday, we utilized Skype for the program, and evidently Skype had an upgrade or whatever they call it. And as what usually happens with anything that is Microsoft based, it had a bug and it was screwed up. But I think that we got it. Hopefully, they fixed it as well as what we did here to make sure it was connected properly. They don't give you a choice. They just say, "Hey, we're going to do this now." That's one big issue I have with these big companies like Microsoft and Apple. They sometimes they don't even give you the choice to say yes or no at that particular point in time. It just says, well, save your work. We're about to shut you down because we're going to upgrade and update and that kind of crap. And you say, no, I don't want to. Well, you can't. You can turn your device on and turn it off and then turn your device back on. But, in a few minutes, it's going to pop up again. You don't see, you folks got to understand when you buy, this is why I hate buying computers and cell phones, anything that has software from anybody else, because you don't really own your device. Do you realize that? You don't really. Now they've become a necessity, so you got to have one. But you really don't own it. They have control of that thing. Unless you are some sort of, computer guru, somebody that can build you one and not utilize all that other stuff. People use Ubuntu and Linux and stuff. I don't know anything about that kind of stuff. So I'm just like, probably 99% of the population. All I can do is sit by and complain because Apple and Microsoft, they own the vast majority of the market, and they own your machine. They do. You don't get to do certain things with your machine. You don't get to say no to certain stuff. They just they're able to come into your computer at will whenever they want and scramble things up on you. They call it an update. But it's not like Facebook can have an update. It's only on their servers, and when you go there, then you see the update. It doesn't happen on your computer. But with Apple, the software, and Microsoft, the software, it happens on your device. And you don't give them permission to do it. Well, I mean, by fiat you do, just by simply buying the damn thing. But you don't get to say, I don't want the update. They just do it. And you have very little control over that, over when it is actually done too. Because sometimes, in some of the newer machines, I understand that the update is automatic, and trying to find where you can change that to not automatic update is very difficult because they've buried that button, if you will, now, and it is very very convoluted. And with each different incarnation of, like, say, Microsoft and operating system and Apple too, they change it. So if you have a previous edition of a Microsoft software operating system, and you get a new one, you think you know where everything is, and they change it on you. So it's like you got to learn it all over again. They can't keep stuff in the same place. And they do it on purpose. They could keep stuff in the same place if they wanted to. But they do it on purpose. It's to screw you up and keep you, at their mercy. So you spend all this money, especially on an Apple, you spend all that money on a laptop, those Air things and their desktop, and you don't really own it. It's amazing to really think about. When you start thinking about it logically, you don't really own your devices. And we all get upset, we're talking about somebody else taking over our computer. The big thing is viruses and your computer becoming a slave computer to some hacker somewhere, or a hacker getting into. How about Microsoft and Apple getting into your computer? They're in it every day, just about. Hackers, maybe a hacker could, but hackers don't update and scramble everything. Microsoft and Apple do. And then if you have a computer that's too old, if you happen to like it, because you got it all configured exactly the way you want it, well, then they decide they're not going to support that operating system anymore, so you're left out in the lurch. Yeah, it's a beautiful racket. Wish I thought of it. I mean, wish I was old enough to have invested in Microsoft and Apple way back in the day when they first, I'd be a bazillionaire by now. And there are people that are invested all those years ago, and they've made the funny thing about finding a new, everybody's talking about, everybody's looking for the new Microsoft. The funny thing about the new Microsoft, finding a new Microsoft as far as stock is concerned, is that they come out like every year. The point is just trying to pick that one that's going to be that way. I mean, Amazon, anybody? I mean, did anybody really think back in the day, 20 years ago, did anybody really think that Amazon, they mostly sold books. And then they started allowing people to sell used books. That was it. Anybody think Amazon was going to be nearly as big as it is today? Did anybody ever think that Google was going to be the monster that it is today? Everybody thought it was going to be Yahoo. Back in the day, they were the first and the best and the biggest at it. Nobody thought about Google. Everybody Yahooed everything. Yeah, as far as we're concerned, the term should not have, hey, go Google it. It should be go Yahoo it. Because that's how powerful Yahoo was when it first came on the scene. So who thought of Google? I mean, you could have bought Google for real cheap when it first came out, but, it didn't. So this whole notion that, finding a new Microsoft, they come out every year. The problem is that none of us, unless we're fortune tellers, none of us know which one of those stocks is going to be the massive company of tomorrow. Because there's probably companies today that were issuing stock, this year, that most of us probably overlooked and said, I don't know if that's going to be worth anything. And then 10 years from now, we're going to be kicking ourselves. If I would have only invested $5,000, I'd have like $50 million today, man. I don't even bother trying to play that game. I used to get calls, but anybody still get calls from stockbrokers trying to get you to? I used to get calls from stockbrokers. The new stockbroker. You're on some call list somewhere. And they call you up. Man, remember penny stocks? Oh, my God. I used to get inundated with those calls back in the 90s. It was awful. I got this great opportunity. An opportunity, my ass. The stock is selling for 30 cents a share. And you say, okay, I'm down. I could, for 30 cents, yeah, sure, I can give you $100. No. Minimum buy-in is $5,000. I don't want that many shares. It's gonna be awesome. Well, then you buy it. I'll give you $100. I'll take a risk at $100, but not $5,000. Are you crazy? Yeah. Well, it's only 30 cents. 30 cents. Yeah. You gotta buy 1,000 shares or 1,500 shares or 10,000 shares or something like that. No, I'm not doing that. Put 30. Okay, I'll put me down for 100 shares. No. You got to buy at least 1,000 shares. No, I'm not giving you $3 or $5 grand on it. No. I'll spend a couple $100 maybe, because you can spend $100 just playing, going to the playing, cards, poker with your buddies in a month, or you drop $100 betting on football, football parlays and stuff. But I'm not going to give you $5 grand or more. I don't even know who you are for some stock that's only trading at 30 cents a share or less. But, so I don't know. Do you guys still get those get calls like that? I don't get them anymore. So I don't. It's kind of surprising. I don't know how a new stockbroker gets in the game. I really don't, because they don't call people anymore, because so many people are on the do not call list anyway. How do they call people? How do they get their book of business started? Yeah, well, good luck to them. It's a crapshoot. Well, the reason why they have such a hard time is because they don't have any news organization giving them drama or promoting them by drama. By the way, here's the from the Daily Beast. Speaking of drama, Hurricane Irma is stronger than all of 2017's other 8 Atlantic storms combined. Only one storm has ever seen stronger recorded winds than Hurricane Irma, which is as powerful as any in Atlantic history. But wait. Hold on. Okay, Daily Beast says only one storm has ever seen stronger recorded winds. So in other words, only one storm has been stronger than Irma. But wait, I have a story here from a different publication. Irma, strongest hurricane ever. Well, they just contradicted themselves. The lamestream media did. How can it be the strongest ever if there was a hurricane that had stronger winds than Irma? Now, notice, I'm noticing here in the story that the Daily Beast isn't naming that other storm. But somehow they're able to combine the other 8 major storms in the Atlantic this year and combine them, and it's still not as strong as... Now, what was Harvey? Didn't Harvey have winds of 150 miles per hour? When at its top? It was a Cat 5, right? So 150 miles per hour. So now Irma's at 180, 185. Yeah, that's only 30 or 35 miles per hour stronger. It's still a lot of wind. But are you telling me that the other 7 combined with Harvey, how do you combine them anyway? How do you... I love when they try to do these comparisons. How do you combine them? This is what I'm talking about, drama, folks. This is irrelevant. It's a bunch of BS designed to scare the hell out of people. That's all. You got one story, you got one news outlet telling us that this is the most powerful hurricane ever in the history of hurricanes, ever. We know because we can go back 10,000 years and tell you that this is the strongest hurricane since the beginning of time. Ever. And then you go to another lamestream outlet and says, oh, no, it's not the strongest ever. There was one recorded stronger than this one, but this one is the strongest this year, even if you combined all the other storms together. Now, I don't know how they're combining them. Irma hasn't even hit, so we don't even know what kind of damage she's going to do yet. We already know what the others, damages, the billions of dollars that the other 8 have done. So are they saying that Irma has already surpassed that in damage and death? I don't think so. I cannot stand, this is kind of ironic that I'm in this business, really. Because I'm at the point where I just can't stand the news. I can't understand and get through all this freaking drama that they drum up. You don't know if it's the strongest that's ever been. As a matter of fact, somebody else has done their homework and found out there's been at least one recorded storm in modern history that's been stronger than Irma, which means that Irma isn't the strongest ever. It's not even the strongest in the last 100 years, so how is it the strongest ever? And how are they measuring it? Is it the destruction path? How wide is the storm? We've had monster hurricanes that they didn't have 180 mile per hour winds, but they were like 500 miles wide. I don't think Irma's that big, is it? I don't know. You're not telling us. You're just telling us it's the biggest, baddest, strongest ever. Oh, but wait. It's not the biggest, baddest, strongest ever because there was one that's recorded that was bigger, badder, stronger. I'm not making light of the destructive power of any hurricane. And if you've got one that's bearing down on you, you need to do what you need to do to secure your property and then get the hell out of Dodge. Don't hang around. You know it's going to be bad. And all it's going to do is it's going to force people to come and save your butt. I mean, if you're not in a place that's secured, you need to get out to a place that's secure, so people don't have to come in and save you and your dog. I can just see it now. Irma's saying, "I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog Toto too."
Hello, America. It's me, your history. I remember a time when we thumbed our nose in a king's face, sent him packing. And when fascists and emperors talked a little bit too loud, we showed up, tore their cities to the ground, and then rebuilt them just to prove we could. We put men on the moon, we won a Cold War, and we elected fearless leaders who led fearless people. What the hell happened to you, America? Back in my day, we didn't elect a big-eared community organizer. We punched him in the kidney. Maybe it's time you came home, America. Home where you belong.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
This is Free America broadcasting on the Rod Eccles Show with a message to all patriots trapped behind the lines in California, New York, Boston, and Chicago. Don't give up, true lovers of America. Even as we speak, moves are being made to drive the invaders back to the land from which they came. Defeat the would-be dictators and lift the chains of tyranny from around your neck. Stay strong. Stay brave. You're not forgotten, and you're not alone. Until next time, patriots, This is Free America signing out.
Call Rod now, 603-835-3226. Lines are open.
603-835-3226. Let's give it. We're going to clap and yell for Irma. One more time. Woo! Now here, I've got two other stories here. One is just I'm not even going to mention their name, but here's the Miami Herald story. Miami Herald. Now they quantified their headline. Irma becomes strongest Atlantic hurricane outside Gulf and Caribbean ever recorded. Yes, they quantified it by saying it's the strongest hurricane ever recorded outside of the Gulf and the Caribbean. Now, this other ludicrous publication says that Hurricane Irma is the strongest hurricane ever. Not ever recorded, not in the Caribbean, not in the Gulf, not in the Atlantic, not in the South, not in the North, but the strongest hurricane ever. And then you have the Daily Beast telling us, well, it's not the strongest ever. There was one that was recorded that was even stronger than Irma. And yet, I'm reading the story, and I can't find the name of that storm. Maybe it was before they named them. You know, it was Hurricane 1, Hurricane 2, Hurricane 3. That could have been it. So, I mean, I'm looking at 3 different publications here, and they all tell you a different story about the same damn storm. But they're all trying to focus it in and make it some sort of dramatic event. Without just they're not giving you just the facts. They're embellishing. They're embellishing to the, sure, you know, you can have a little bit of embellishment that we all do that. That's fine. But when they do that to this extent, it becomes malpractice. Media malpractice in my book. And these people, I'm sorry, but these publications need to, these news outlets, the lamestream media needs to start being held accountable to this stuff. Because you're scaring the hell out of people for no good reason. You're lying about it. You're blaming people that have absolutely no control over it. And you're telling, hey, what do you think that's going to, if people are saying, oh my God, this is the strongest hurricane ever, what do you think people are going to do? Well, they're going to panic. And the Miami Herald, they're quantifying it. Well, it's not the strongest ever, but it's the strongest outside of the Gulf and it's the strongest outside of the Caribbean. Well, okay, but it's still got to go through the Caribbean in order to get to you, does it not? So does that mean it's going to lose strength? Well, usually hurricanes do lose a little bit. Now, some of them regain it once they get back in the open water, but they pass over some of the islands and they lose a little bit of strength. Cuba usually takes the brunt. For Florida. I mean, that's okay. It's Cuba. I mean, sorry about the fact that innocent people, get killed over in Cuba because Cuba's government doesn't because they're communists. They don't want to, let alone know how to handle it. But at least, hey, if you're going to have a country that's going to get wiped out every time a hurricane comes through, it might as well be Cuba, right? And I know some people are going to be, oh my God, did you hear Rod is calling for Cuba to be destroyed? Well, if it was the Soviet Union that a hurricane had to go through first, I'd say the Soviet Union should take the brunt. And right now, it's probably Venezuela. If you're going to be in the, we should wish that Venezuela was taking the brunt. Come on, don't tell me people don't think about this. Even you leftists think about that stuff like that. You're probably thinking that, that Trump Tower, if you're a leftist, you're thinking Trump Tower should be placed out there and take the brunt of any storm to block it. It's big enough, Rod. That tower at Trump's house it's big enough to block it. You want to talk about drama. Intel report coming up next.
Have you ever thought to yourself, I'm a leftist elite Hollywood a-hole? If so, good news. The Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College is now open, featuring such courses as unemployment is not paid vacation. No, Americans don't want to spend $19 for an order of French fries, and the ever popular shut the hell up. Why, just listen to this big-time celebrity endorsement.
I'm not Rosie O'Donnell, and I think this school's offensive, sexist, and racist.
And I think you're a giant a-hole who needs to shut the hell up. Hey, we teach a course in that. The Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College, where being an a-hole is not a guarantee you'll be an A student.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please, call or go online right now.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We've got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and always stay in the kitchen when cooking at high temperatures. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov, because fire is everyone's fight.
And now, a message from the American Migraine Foundation.
It's an absolute nightmare. I was terrified. It was like your head's gonna explode.
Migraine is a disabling disease.
Just all of a sudden couldn't see.
Migraine has ruined my life.
Absolutely terrifying.
There's pain that does not stop.
It's a throbbing, pulsing, banging, hammering feeling in your head.
36 million Americans suffer.
I started getting migraines around 5 years old.
Just takes over everything.
I feel trapped by migraine.
It hurts like my head's gonna fall off.
And the whole world around you stops.
My world has gotten small. You feel like the world's closing in on you. There's nothing you can do.
I had spent a year housebound. It's like you're trapped in your head. There's no escaping it. You can't leave your body.
Don't suffer alone. Make your move against migraine. Visit AmericanMigraineFoundation.org to find help, learn more, and get connected.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The human voice. It can be sweet as music, powerful as thunder,
And so, my fellow Americans,
cheerful as laughter. But for millions of people, it can also be a sign of COPD. This serious lung disease can make it so hard to breathe, you often can't catch a breath or finish a sentence, let alone carry a tune. And many who have COPD don't even know it. That's where your voice comes in. If you think you or a loved one have symptoms, talk with a healthcare provider. Early diagnosis can mean better treatments and quality of life. Join us in raising our voices for the millions with COPD who can't. Learn more, breathe better at NIH.gov.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge. Welcome back. Hour number 2 here on the Rod Eccles Show. Here on this hump day, Wednesday, September number 6 in the year of our Lord 2017. Welcome to all you wonderful liberty lovers and ecclesiastites all across the globe, as well as you new listeners and you liberal listeners out there. We went through the whole batch in the last hour. All you DACA people listening too. Glad you're here. Hey, here's something just to calm people down. Well, maybe this won't calm people down. But this is, 180, 185 miles per hour is not the biggest, baddest windstorm that we've ever recorded, which means it's not the biggest, baddest windstorm ever. As a matter of fact, the fastest surface wind speed was recorded here in New Hampshire, up there on Mount Washington, at the top of Mount Washington, 231 miles per hour. That was recorded back in April of 1934. So I don't think, man-made climate change was a big thing back then, was it? No. So we got winds of 231 miles per hour. However, back in, 1996, that record fell. It was basically obliterated by an unmanned station, or instrument station as they call it, in Barrow Island, Australia, with a recorded wind speed of 253 miles per hour, and that was during Typhoon Olivia. So typhoons are basically what they call windstorms in the Pacific. Here in the Atlantic, we call them hurricanes. I don't know why there's a difference. I haven't even bothered to look into that, why there's a difference in calling typhoons versus hurricanes. Maybe we should have a... Well, can you imagine if a typhoon 253 miles per hour hit on the Atlantic coast? I mean, my God, the wonderful Al Gore people would have a heyday. The drama on the news would be unstoppable. 200 mile per hour plus winds. I mean, that's some serious business.
Yeah, no, but we don't. We only deal. That's because there's a lot more ocean on the Pacific side, and the temperature extremes over the water are more than they are in the Atlantic. So those storms can get a little bit more intense. Notice I said because of nature, not because of man. It's because of what happens in Mother Nature. There's more room for them to grow out there in the Pacific than they can in the Atlantic. There is greater temperature swings. Now, this is not me saying, this is scientific data. Science says this. And as far as Irma now being the biggest, baddest ever, well, according to the Daily Beast and according to another publication here, I'm putting the two together, Irma has sustained winds of 180, 185 miles per hour, making it the strongest storm on record in the Atlantic Ocean outside of the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico. Now, Irma's wind speeds are tied with the second strongest maximum winds of all time. So, obviously, the publication that says Irma's the biggest and baddest of all time is wrong because it's tied with another one, matching a 1935 storm in the Florida Keys, Hurricane Gilbert. Well, that's 1935 before man-made climate change. And then we had Wilma in 2005, also had 180, 185. Hurricane Allen back in 1980 had recorded winds of 190 miles per hour. So that was a stronger storm. Category 5. It's unfortunate you have to go through all this rigmarole just to find the damn facts when every single story should be pointing out the facts like that. Like I just gave them to you. And I had to go into multiple places to find this information and put it into one report for you. Because they won't do it because it doesn't fit their narrative. That's media malpractice, folks. Plain and simple. I just proved it. Well, that means that it is time. He just came through the door. Through the door, I mean via phone, at his secret location. It is time for the Intel Report with Agent 0010. Good morning, Agent. How are you this morning?
Good morning, Rod. Happy Barbie Day.
Yeah. Yes, it is the day for Barbie. 1959 is when she first hit the shelves. I'm surprised you don't have a bunch of feminazis out there, decrying Barbie, saying it's, this is a bunch of men back then were selling women.
Oh, they have.
Oh, well,
there you go. They've done it for years. I mean, they haven't been doing it lately, which is really surprising. But yeah, they've done it in the past. Where it's like, oh, her boobs are too big. Oh, nobody can match up to that kind of a figure. Oh, Barbie doesn't really portray, a real woman. Well, of course she doesn't portray a real woman because it's a doll.
Yes, I know. They've done the whole thing. If Barbie were a real human being, if she were a real woman, she'd be like 7 feet 6 inches tall or something ridiculous like that to have those curves. And yeah, I know. It's just, well. Yeah, hey, they got to create drama even with a little child's plaything.
Yeah, it's pathetic. By the way, I want to thank you for your vote of confidence on the air from earlier. I really appreciate that. I haven't always been right, but I try to make sure that I don't give you and the listeners any bum information.
Well, it's a well-deserved compliment and praise. I mean, hell. Nobody's always right, not even me.
Oh, God. Oh, God forbid. Say it ain't so.
So we can because when we're dealing with this kind of stuff, we're dealing with the most unpredictable thing on the planet, and that's human beings.
Well, you know what? I mean, I've been wrong in the past. I mean, when I used to work at the agency, I've been wrong, but I always lean towards greater precaution. And even though I was wrong, I was ready to be right, just in case. Hell, I even sent you that email at that one time about the Tour de France, and I'm very glad I was wrong about that.
Well, there are a lot of people are glad about it, but when we talk about stuff like that, though, I mean, is it that we were really wrong, or did they do something to change it or prevent it that they just didn't tell us? So sometimes you may be right, you just don't know it.
Well, I mean, look, well, you know what? Let's explain to the listeners. I sent Rod Eccles an email at the beginning of the Tour de France. Now, the Tour de France, mind you, is almost a month long. These guys are cycling through the French countryside. And I kept looking at the Pyrenees, which is a mountain range that separates France from Spain. And I kept looking at the Pyrenees, and I'm like, wow, that's prime target right there. Because all you have to do is walk across the country. Avoid any checkpoints. Just walk cross country, and you're right there on the route. That's it. And if you bring like a small water jug with you, like one of those plastic thermoses that's round, that has a little handle that you can just carry it in your hand, that can pack a potent punch, an extremely potent punch. So I kept looking at that, like, oh wow, this is. So I sent Rod Eccles an email saying, I hope to God I'm wrong, but I see an opportunity for ISIS to strike again in France. And this is on the world stage. It's not like running through the streets with a knife and then eventually gets reported. This is being watched by millions of people live as it happens. And all they had to do was strike the peloton. And the peloton is that big clump of cyclists that are all gaggled together. Hit that at the right time, devastation.
Yeah, now, again, it doesn't mean that you were wrong in that aspect because I mean, let's face it. I'll give the French security forces. They're not stupid. I mean, they're pretty good at their jobs, and and they could have been on top of it and could have prevented something. And now there's also something that the French are very good at doing is keeping things hush hush and quiet and secretive. I mean, we actually had to go into Iraq and depose Saddam Hussein in order to find out that the French actually were doing business with the Iraqis after the UN sanctions were put in place. So they're very good at keeping secrets. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe they could have had drones up there. And by the way, I did see a story not too long ago how the French were using drones to patrol outlying areas like that. So maybe that's exactly what they did, and they prevented something before it even had a chance to develop. That could have been the case. I hope that's not the case, but it could have been. But if it were, they're not going to tell us.
Well, I'm just very thankful that nothing did happen. Yes. And I watched the Tour de France, and I watched not to watch for an explosion, but because, well, I like sports that most Americans don't like. I'm weird.
I would just like to have the ability to at least experience part of that trip through the French countryside. It must be amazing. Not on a bicycle, but I mean, I'm not racing it. I mean, those people are nuts. I like biking. I like mountain biking, but I'm not going to do that. That's insane. That's like running a marathon for a living. All these marathon runners that roll all over the place, 25, 26, 27 miles long. The human beings were not made to run like that. That's ridiculous. I'm not doing it. Why would you put your body through that? It's crazy. And traveling on a bicycle, like going as fast as you possibly can for hundreds of miles, over a 3 or 4 week period, that's also human insanity. I'll take a car, thank you.
Oh, the definition of humanity. Knucking futs.
Yes. What's new this week? That we've got a lot of stuff that's out there. I mean, people were talking about this whole North Korea thing, and Trump is he's instigating Kim Jong-un. Which one is this guy? I always get him mixed up.
Kim Jong-un.
Yeah, he should be ill because he's just as ill as his dad.
Yeah.
And what was the grandfather's name who started the whole thing? Kim Jong what?
I
can't remember it. I know it was a long time ago. They think he's a god now, but it's kind of like an Egyptian pharaoh. They die and become gods. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, whatever his name was, now his name is dirt.
Absolutely, dust.
Yeah, so exactly.
What's on the horizon that we need to know about? We should be concerned about.
Well, right now, what I want to do is I just want to give my take on the entire Comey situation about, drafting this letter, basically freeing Hillary Clinton of any and all responsibility. Here's the thing about this. Now, the National Review, which is a very reputable magazine, they put out a report stating that Comey was told to draft that letter by the Obama administration, basically by the president himself. And does that surprise anyone? It really shouldn't, because now we're talking about an individual, a president of the United States, that decided to use the intelligence organizations to spy on reporters. But not just the reporters, but also a reporter's family. So to sit there and say, by the way, same president that went against the Constitution and created DACA. Okay, so should we be surprised that he told James Comey, whatever you do, you're going to find her innocent? Well, put yourself in James Comey's situation. You have the president on the left, you have the attorney general on the right, and then right behind you is the FBI, which you're leading. They're behind you. They're following your lead. So what do? Well, when you're in Washington, D.C., and this is what, now you know very well, Rod, that in the past I've stood up for Comey. Mm-hmm. And time will tell whether I'm wrong or I'm right. But so far, time is proving that me defending James Comey is on the right side. Because now when the National Review comes out with this article stating that President Barack Obama was the one that told James Comey to, basically let her go, and you have Loretta Lynch telling James Comey, it's not an investigation. It's a situation.
Yeah,
okay?
It's
all right,
just a matter. Call it a matter.
It's just a matter. Well, guess what? Being in Washington, D.C., you learn the language. You learn to play the psyops game, the psychological game. So here's James Comey saying, yes, she did this. Yes, she did that. Yes, she did the other thing. But he then said something that I was like, dude, you just challenged every attorney on the planet to prove you wrong. And that was the aha moment. Because he turns around and says, no prosecutor in their right mind. Well, guess what? Every prosecutor in their right mind said, want to make a bet?
Yeah, because
so he basically challenged people.
Yeah, because he said that
come on.
there was I found no malice or intent to do ill will, basically. I didn't know that was a precursor for breaking the law and holding people accountable. Okay.
It's not a precursor. So he's playing the word game. He played the word game. Basically, he draws people in, and people are like, really? That's not part of the law. It just says if you break the law, and she's an attorney, she knows better, blah, 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 blah. Basically, he played a mind game with people and drew them in and guess what? It worked. It worked because now you have this organization that is constantly using FOIA to get access to the emails and the records that the FBI have. So it has worked. And her guilt is being proven over and over and over again on an almost daily basis. James Comey was caught between a rock, a hard place, and guess what? A fire. Most people get caught between a rock and a hard place. James Comey got caught between a rock, a hard place, and a blazing inferno. He didn't know what to do, so he decided, let's play the Washington game. This is my actual gut feeling. My gut feeling as to what James Comey actually did. He is, he was a pawn in this situation. Now, how can the director of the FBI be a pawn? Well, guess what? Ever since J. Edgar Hoover, the FBI's powers have been stripped back considerably because they're being watched, they're being monitored, because J. Edgar Hoover had information on everybody. He was able to blackmail whomever he pleased. Because of that, now they're being watched, they're being taken care of properly, they're making sure that, people like a J. Edgar Hoover never happen again. But James Comey is not a stupid man. James Comey knows the word game. The press know the word game, but the press decided to go with the initial reaction of, but we're not going to prosecute. Well, they went with that and they ran with it. They didn't listen to what the man said. Now, when the National Review came out with this article, that was my aha moment where I was like, there it is. Something was not sitting right. I knew there was a missing link. I just couldn't put my finger on it. And I kept overlooking it. The name kept coming up, but I kept overlooking the name, which was very stupid of me and very wrong of me to do that, because that name that kept coming up was President Barack Obama. But I kept overlooking it because I thought it was something more in-depth, somebody more shadowy, somebody more nefarious.
Valerie Jarrett.
Bingo. That's who I actually thought it was.
Yeah, well, I would.
Jarrett.
She could have been pulling some strings there. I mean, there are people that have, Valerie Jarrett is the real Nancy Reagan. Remember when everybody said that Nancy Reagan actually held the power of the presidency when Ronnie was president? You could say that about Valerie Jarrett more than you could say that about Nancy Reagan.
Valerie Jarrett, I would love to meet Valerie Jarrett in a nice dark alley. I really would, because I'd walk out by myself. The woman is dirty as dirty can get. She is protected. She's very well protected.
I just call her evil incarnate. Can you hold on till after the break? There's a couple of questions I wanted to ask you that's related to this stuff too. I'd like to get your take on it.
Sure, not a problem.
Don't go anywhere. We're not done with the agent yet.
You're listening to the Rod Eccles Show, the coolest, most politically incorrect, conservative black man on the planet.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
When it comes to the powers that be inside an administration, every president has their advisors. Usually, it's usually, a handful of them, 3, 4, or 5, and there's usually one that they go to constantly. And for Obama, that seems to have been Valerie Jarrett, which gives that one person, a lot of influence of how the president acts and reacts to certain stimuli. And if they have nefarious means or ideas behind them, they're going to advise the president and push the president to do some pretty nefarious things. Now, the president's supposed to be strong enough to resist, but, well, I definitely wouldn't say that it was due to her beautiful wiles, but Jared is not. She's a smart lady. She's really smart. And as I said, I believe that she is evil incarnate. We'll get more in just a minute. Don't go anywhere, folks.
Dad, we need to talk.
Can we just enjoy the drive?
If you're not going to listen to me, who will we listen to?
Jeffrey.
Marcia Gay Harden, what?
Eyes on the road, Dad.
What are you doing? What are you doing in my back seat? How did you get in here?
You're getting older.
Not that old.
Your brain's changing. It's natural.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Honey, I've got experience with this. Jeffrey, brain health is all about making the most of your brain as you age and helping to reduce some of the risks to your brain.
Really? Now that's interesting.
So, you'll talk to her about this, but not me. Marcia Gay Harden? Where did she go?
Learn what you can do to help keep your brain healthy at brainhealth.gov. She didn't say goodbye? I mean, I would have. Visit brainhealth.gov.
Every day, 70,000 puppies or kittens are born in the U.S. Cute, right? What's not cute is that half of all litters are accidents, which leads to millions killed in shelters each year. Turns out, those little cuties can get pregnant sooner than you think. But here's the good news. You can stop the accident before it happens. When you bring home a pet, get them fixed at 4 months old. Prevent more. Fix at month 4. Visit fixat4.com for more information. Brought to you by Best Friends Animal Society.
There's a threat targeting America. One that's growing fast, but may still be hard to see. Lyme disease. Spread by tiny ticks, often smaller than the head of a pin. This dangerous disease is now more widespread than West Nile, tuberculosis, and HIV/AIDS combined. And if left untreated, it can lead to arthritis, facial paralysis, and even memory and concentration problems, often called brain fog. As the threat of Lyme disease grows to more than 300,000 projected cases each year, it's time for us to target Lyme disease. That means checking for ticks when you've been outside, even in your own backyard. It means seeing a doctor if you experience the symptoms of Lyme disease, which can include joint pain, flu-like symptoms, fever, fatigue, or sometimes a bullseye-shaped rash. Set your sights on stopping Lyme. Learn how you can target Lyme disease at targetlyme.org.
Battles aren't won solely on the field. That's a common misconception. Battles are won within, over enemies of fear, enemies of doubt. In that place where promises are kept. Promises to oneself.
This is a physical training event!
Promises to one's community.
Helping people move debris out of their house.
Promises to one's country. In the heart of every Marine, you'll find a promise. A promise forever kept. A promise of battles won.
We're here early before they wake up. We stay late, we stay informed, we invest in the latest technology.
We take the time to train the next generation of doctors and nurses. We work together to make sure we heal their bodies and their minds.
We do this not because it's our job, but because this is about our veterans' lives. This is our mission. More than 300,000 of us working as one. together with families and loved ones. No matter where they live in this country, we'll be there.
We all come together and stand together to serve our veterans. We stand strong, united. Stand with us in caring for our veterans.
Hi, this is Kelsey Grammer. When military service members head into battle, none are expected to face the enemy alone, but many return home and become isolated as they struggle with the visible and invisible wounds of war. It can be difficult knowing how to overcome that challenge and rekindle bonds similar to those formed in the military. Wounded Warrior Project supports these injured veterans through their recoveries by connecting them with fellow warriors and their communities. No one should fight this battle alone. Join us at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Call Rod now, 666-603-835-3226. Welcome back. We are still here having a conversation with Agent 0010 as he's delivering his weekly intel report. Now, Agent, when it comes to Valerie Jarrett and, and Obama, Barack Obama as president, she was just an advisor, right? What was her official title, if there ever really is one for that type of a position?
She was just considered a special advisor to the president, and she was a member of the White House staff. She was one of the few people that was White House staff that had actual access directly to the president.
Yeah, they usually call that walk-in privileges. They don't have to have an appointment. They don't have to go through the president's secretary and things like that. They're just able to walk through the Oval Office door. And from what I understand, Jarrett also had access to the private living quarters.
Mm-hmm.
And so now you have a person who has that kind of access and that kind of influence. And a lot of presidents, modern presidents, have had a person or two like that, it's very important that we understand who those people are. And Valerie Jarrett has been one of those people that has been very secretive. And we do know a lot about her, but there's a lot that we don't know about her. And that hasn't always been the case with these so-called close special advisors, has it? How has she been able to stay under the radar? I mean, Van Jones, when President Obama first was inaugurated, Van Jones was the guy, and everybody knew about everything about Van Jones, and the heat got too much for Van Jones, and I think Obama just finally said, hey, dude, it's too much, you got to go. But that's not the same with Valerie Jarrett. I mean, what is the intel on this woman?
Valerie Jarrett grabbed onto the Obama coattails when he was in Chicago. When he went into Washington, D.C., she followed him. Valerie Jarrett's always been an individual that's been able to use her influence and her charm to gather information or persuade people to do as she wants. You call her intelligent, I call her brilliant. She is actually a brilliant woman, but she's also one of the individuals that kept advising President Obama about his legacy. When most people say, you know what, if you just do your job right, the legacy will happen. But it was legacy first, job second. And it was always about keeping the legacy in mind. But Valerie Jarrett's influence, like I said, it started. She has been trusted. She gained the confidence and the trust of Barack Obama in his days at Chicago. So, that being said, I want to tell America something. Now, first of all, I am not a sexist. I believe all human beings have the ability to either sink or swim, male or female, I don't care. You have the ability to use your mind. You have the ability to move forward as far ahead as you wish. And nobody should impede your path to your personal success. With that being said, Valerie Jarrett has been she's been underestimated because she's a woman. Newsflash, ladies and gentlemen, some of the most powerful, some of the most influential human beings on this planet have been women. And some of the most deceitful intelligence personnel, some of the most deceitful politicians have also been women. So stop thinking that just because somebody's a female that they're not capable of doing certain things.
We've had a few
Margaret Thatcher.
Had a few famous spies like that. Mata Hari.
Yeah.
And she,
but I mean, listen.
A great spy, deceitful, and when it was kind of a surprise to some people when she was finally caught. But yeah, women can. They have women have special tricks in their bag that men can't get away with.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And again, that's not being sexist. That's just fact. I mean, it is.
In the political world, one of the most ruthless, but loved her country so much, loved her people so much, but she was ruthless, she was driven, she was motivated, and her name was Israel's Golda Meir.
Yes.
Tough as nails. Made Margaret Thatcher look like a wimp. So
yeah, the original Iron Lady.
Exactly. So let's not underestimate women. Let us give credit where credit is due. Never, ever underestimate anyone, no matter what their gender is. One out of, what is it now, 34? 34 freaking genders, according to the leftists?
I think it's 68, but, you know.
Oh, Jesus Christ, shoot me in the face.
Just as a side note, I have a friend who's a teacher and she teaches 5th grade reading and math. And in one of her classes, they have a 5th grade transgendered student, and they had to go through special training to make sure that they didn't make this transgender child fill out a play. So they couldn't use pronouns like him and her. It has to be them and they.
So what if they're referring to one individual, a single individual?
I don't know. I guess just you. You can't. I don't know. But. Well, getting back to Valerie now. Now she's what a lot of people thought, and I did too, thought it was kind of weird that she moved into the post-presidential mansion of Barack and Michelle, and she was there when they weren't, when they were on their 2-month-long vacation all over the globe with, you know, very influential, very wealthy people. I thought Democrats didn't like wealthy people, but he seemed to cozy up with a few of them, including David Geffen on his yacht for like 2 weeks or something. It's just ridiculous. Yeah. But she was still. Why would you keep somebody around that close to you after you're basically retired? You're no longer in power. I mean, what can she do for him now? Why is he keeping her so close?
She has international contacts. So instead of him making the call, she can make the call herself. She can get information from other sources that think about this. How do you think it would look if it broke out that President Barack Obama was speaking to individuals from Russian intelligence? How would it look if President Barack Obama was at home, former President Barack Obama was sitting at home having a conversation with Ukrainian intelligence? It wouldn't look very good. It would look like he was still running the shadow government. So instead of him making the phone calls, she does the calls. She sets things up because, well, she has ways of communicating with them that the NSA are not monitoring, or the CIA, or anybody else. So she has other methods of communicating with them, probably through the black net, the dark net. So if she's using the dark net to send messages back and forth via email, okay, fine. NSA can't get into the dark net, especially something like the Tor network, T-O-R. The Tor network, the NSA has been unable to get into because of its constant cycling and constantly. I can bounce a signal. I can make a phone call using the Tor network if it actually gets to work if I catch it on a good day. I can make a phone call. It looks like it's bouncing out of 8 different countries.
I need to really
So-
understand how to do that. I need to know how to access the dark. I'm serious. I mean, I hear. Well, I mean, we've heard these statistics that even though most of us, the vast majority of us, use the web, it's something like it's only 10% of what's actually out there, what we utilize on a daily basis. So there's this whole 80-90% that's called the dark web. Well, that's a lot.
Yeah.
What the hell is out there?
I can access information through the dark net that I can't access through Google. And let me give you, and you know what? It doesn't even have to be the dark net. If you go to DuckDuckGo, okay, which is a search engine, believe it or not, DuckDuckGo, duck as in quack. You go in there, you can find articles that have been written that Google will not allow show up on their search engine. You will find it on DuckDuckGo because they do not monitor it that way. If it's out there on the net, they're going to have it on their search engine. That's the one I usually go to when it comes to articles because Google has been censoring itself for quite a while now.
Yeah, well, yeah, all the mainstream ones seem to do that, but it's just There used to be a Nexus, Lexus or something like that used to be a big. Is that where Tor came out of? Is the idea of Nexus search?
No, Tor came out of a bunch of nerds that got together and said, you know what? We're being monitored. We're being watched. And this was before Snowden blew the whistle. Okay. These individuals already had that feeling. So Tor was created, and Tor, they will take donations to keep it up and running. And they do get their donations. Don't get it twisted. It's not like put together with duct tape and tacks and paper clips. They get their donations. But the Tor network allows you to send emails that cannot be intercepted by the NSA. The Tor network allows you to actually surf the net and have your signal bounced all over the planet. Here's the problem with the Tor network. Twisted individuals also use the Tor network to gain access to pornography that should not exist. Period.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, that's obviously if there's anything out there that's being used for good, it can also be twisted and used for evil.
Exactly.
I mean, this. I've always felt that ever since that we started to learn, well, ever since Van Jones took a hike, then the name Valerie Jarrett started to appear more and more. And I've always felt that this woman was rather, I'm just going to say it. I mean, I said it before. I think she's evil. I mean, there are evil human beings on this planet alive today, and I think she's one of them. I don't think she's honest about anything. I don't think she's straightforward about anything. And I think that I think because Obama never really was, even though he was the president, he never really was an individually strong person. He was not mentally strong. And I think that she was able to utilize that. She found herself a great patsy, and I don't know if she actually knew that he was going to make it all the way to the White House, but she found herself a great patsy that she could easily manipulate. And I honestly, now don't get me wrong here. It's his responsibility for being manipulated. He's directly responsible for all his decisions, no matter who tells him what. You can't lay all the blame on her. I mean, it comes down to he's definitely responsible for all the decisions that he made, but you got to know your weak point. And why does a person like that always find themselves attached to a stronger person, knowing that they're stronger? And I have no doubt that Obama knows that Valerie Jarrett is smarter and stronger in certain areas than he is.
If I have a slightly different take on this than yours, and my take is that former President Barack Obama knew what he wanted. He just didn't know how to get it. He didn't know how to get from point A to point C and avoid point B. Valerie Jarrett, on the other hand, she knew, advised him, and then if he gave the green light, she implemented what he needed. She was she was basically his shadow worker. Now, Van Jones, okay, he leaves the White House. Well, I learned a long time ago that usually when you get fired, the person that replaced you is the one that helped you get fired. That's the way it usually works in D.C. anyway. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, yeah, Van Jones got fired. And now she's coming more and more into the forefront. She's been there all along. But why did Van Jones get fired? Well, if you take a look at Van Jones, he's, I believe, an ethical person. Van Jones has ethics. He has his convictions. In many cases, I disagree with anything he has to say. But you know what? He was smart enough to actually say, you know what? Everybody's being blamed for being a racist that voted for Trump. Let me go out to middle America and find out if they are racist. And come to find out, no, they're not. They're just people that were fed up. I didn't see anybody else doing that.
No, that's absolutely true of Van. He's an admitted, avowed communist, and he's made no bones about it. He's never tried. Van Jones' problem was not that he was a communist, which I vehemently disagree with, but that he was so open about it. Jared, on the other hand, people don't even really know where she stands on anything because she doesn't let it out. She's highly secretive. I mean, this woman she could be the first female imam for all we know, and we'd never know.
She took Saul Alinsky to a whole new level. She digested that book. She lived it. She ate it. And then she actually used, if you haven't noticed, there were situations where you were sitting there going, wait a minute, the Soviets used to do that. Oh, wait a minute, hold on. The Chinese used to do that. Oh, wait a minute, hold on. The Nazis used to do that. This psychological operation, this psychological game, this connecting of this person with that person and me being the middle person and making things happen and using subtle words to infer one thing when it really means something else, but it's the same exact word. Or a suggestion, such as, what was that example I used the other day, where President Barack Obama turned around and he said that we were arming ISIS, or at that time ISIL, that we're arming and training ISIL. And then afterwards, the press secretary said, well, he misspoke. Well, did he misspeak as in he didn't mean ISIL, he meant somebody else, or he misspoke, he wasn't supposed to say that? He wasn't supposed to admit to that. No, he just misspoke. Well, that could mean a myriad of things, but the answer was never properly given. So yes, that's a game that is played in Washington, D.C., and Valerie Jarrett plays it exceedingly, exceedingly well. The woman is brilliant.
Now, at this particular point, now that Obama is no longer the president, do you think that she is still working behind the scenes, working with people like, George Soros? Do you think she has anything to do with Antifa and these other?
Oh, God, yes. God, yes. Are you kidding me? I mean, let's not forget, President Barack Obama, before he became a senator, before he became all this stuff, what did he do? Oh, yeah, he was a community organizer. And what do community organizers do? They organize communities. Well, guess what? A community doesn't have to be just a neighborhood. It could be a community of people that have the same belief system, the same drive. And guess what? The community organizer, being in this case, President Barack Obama, tells Valerie Jarrett, hey, Valerie, talk to George. George, talk to Valerie. Valerie, after you're done talking to George and get the money, then I want you to go out and organize certain things, but make sure you use the proper back channels so it doesn't come back to haunt us. This is something that's done in Washington, D.C. on a daily basis, every single solitary day.
Well, there you go. So do you think that we've heard the last of her?
Oh, God, no. God, no. No way. And you won't see her in the press. You won't see her defending anything. You won't see her standing up and saying, well, this is wrong, this is right, this is what I believe, blah, 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 blah. Well, guess what? She's still in the background. You will hear more of her, but it's never going to be in a good light.
Well, And she's probably still working back channels in Congress to block Trump, too, because Trump is obviously tearing apart Obama's legacy, which they can't have.
Like I said before, listen, if you focus on the job, work your butt off, do what's right, the legacy will write itself. Stop worrying so much about the damn legacy. When that's the first thing on your mind, you're going to screw up. And God, we've had 8 years of continuous screwing up.
No argument for me on that one. Well, that's all the time that we have today for the Intel Report. Thank you so much, Agent. As usual, very insightful. And it's as long as something didn't actually happen, I'm glad that you were wrong about the bike race, the little bike race in France, known as the Tour de France. You got to say that properly, Tour de France. And hopefully we'll continue to be wrong about potential stuff like that in the future as well. But although I don't think that that we will.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
As always, my friend, stay safe out there. And thank you so much for all that you do.
Not a problem. You all have a great one. Take care.
I don't. Valerie Jarrett is one of the few people that whenever I see her, she gives me the heebie-jeebies. Like, ooh. I think Whoopi Goldberg did that really well in The Lion King. When somebody said Mufasa, she went, ooh. Say it again, Mufasa, ooh. In this case, it's Valerie Jarrett, ooh.
I'm not Rod Eccles, and I approve this message. A couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said, "I'll bet you're a Nazi." Well, I love America, support the Constitution, and believe in capitalism. So I told him I'm not a Nazi, and I'm not. So what happens? The punk breaks out 2 windows and pepper sprays an elderly woman in the face. There's one thing about long-haired young people nowadays. They're real assholes. Long-haired young people, you suck.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
All you got to do a lot of times is pay attention to the people who are always in the background, because those are the ones that have a lot of power, and they can be scary. Not just scary looking, but actually really scary. We'll be back.
To
today, there's a beer for everyone.
Hey, me and the guys are going out for beer. You want to come along? Nah, I got a lot of data to enter into the computer tonight.
Now there's a brew for the future.
Want me to bring you something back? Thanks, but I got some right here.
Microsoft Brew.
You got a beer tap on your computer?
With a head so thick you can float a mouse on it.
Let me get this straight. You make your own beer with the computer? With the right software, you can do anything.
Microsoft Brew.
Here, I call this one Windows 95. I don't know, it leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
And if you gotta get there quicker, try the new ISDN malt liquor.
When I found out I had atrial fibrillation, a serious but highly treatable heart condition, the first thing I thought of was who would take care of my wife and children if anything were to happen to me? My doctor recommended Pravactin. I had a lot of questions, so I did some research. It turns out Pravactin is the #1 recommended drug for Crohn's disease. I think my doctor's trying to kill me and steal my wife.
Doctors. They'll stop at nothing to get your wife.
And now, a message from the American Migraine Foundation.
It's an absolute nightmare. I was terrified. It was like your head's gonna explode.
Migraine is a disabling disease.
Just all of a sudden couldn't see. Migraine has ruined my life. Absolutely terrifying.
There's pain that does not stop.
It's a throbbing, pulsing, banging, hammering feeling in your head.
36 million Americans suffer.
I started getting migraines around 5 years old.
Just takes over everything.
I feel trapped by migraine. It hurts like my head's gonna fall off.
And the whole world around you stops.
My world has gotten small.
You feel like the world's closing in on you. There's nothing you can do. I had spent a year housebound.
It's like you're trapped in your head. There's no escaping it. You can't leave your body.
Don't suffer alone. Make your move against migraine. Visit AmericanMigraineFoundation.org to find help, learn more, and get connected.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The human voice. It can be sweet as music, powerful as thunder,
And so, my fellow Americans,
cheerful as laughter. But for millions of people, it can also be a sign of COPD. This serious lung disease can make it so hard to breathe, you often can't catch a breath or finish a sentence, let alone carry a tune. And many who have COPD don't even know it. That's where your voice comes in. If you think you or a loved one have symptoms, talk with a healthcare provider. Early diagnosis can mean better treatments and quality of life. Join us in raising our voices for the millions with COPD who can't. Learn more, breathe better, at nih.gov.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals. Because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness.
Get some rear security.
From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Welcome back. Hour number 3 already. The fastest 3 hours on internet talk radio is right here on the Rod Eccles Show. Unbelievable as it is, it's still Wednesday, halfway through the week already. Here it is on September number 6 in the year of our Lord 2017. The call-in hotline number is 603-835-3226. And as you heard with Agent 0010, it is active and working again. No thanks to Skype. One last thing on this hurricane thing, Hurricane Irma. Now, folks, we live on a planet. Let's understand this. I know liberals want you to believe something different. I know. Well, it's not all liberals. I mean, some of them have some brains and use them. But we live on a planet that is highly unsettled. This planet by no means is a calm planet. This planet by no means is for the weak and timid. You've got to have, I mean, the only thing that keeps, well, the only reason why we have, over 7 billion people alive on the planet is simply because of our brains, and not on each and every individual 7 billion. There has been some good. Believe it or not very much, but there has been some good that has come out of totalitarian types of governments through history. It's helped keep people alive that probably should not have be alive and would not be alive. Natural selection type of thing, and that is more evident now because we're able to use our obla ongata there, that gray matter up the top of our heads, in order to create things to keep us safe. Human beings are actually rather As tough as we are, we look at war sometimes, especially modern war, and we think, how can anybody do that or go through that? But the reality is that we have to have equipment. Human beings are actually rather fragile creatures as far as creatures go on this planet. I mean, we are by far not even in probably, I'd say at least 80% of the animals on this planet. And I'm talking mammals. At least 80% of them. Although they may not be smarter, they're stronger than we are. Human beings, obviously, we don't have the ability to survive in most places on this planet without using our brain. In other words, we wouldn't be able to populate up here in New England during the winter months if we didn't invent clothing. Because we don't have, most of us don't have natural fur or body hair all over us to keep us warm in the winter months and cooler in the summer months. We have to use our brains. That's the only way that we're able to survive on this planet. That is the only way that we've ever been able to survive on this planet. Because our brains make us the top predator on the planet. If it's just out of natural ability and strength, we're not. When you take the brain out of it, we're not. We're rather wimpy. It doesn't take much to take a human being down and out. It doesn't take much at all. I mean, some people may think that sounds, condescending or morbid or what have, but the reality is it doesn't take much. I mean, our skin is not tough. It's easily pierced. We don't have, even the strongest of us, we're not, compared to other animals, we're still not all that strong. And I'm talking about all the wonderful people, the bodybuilders and everything. We're still not that strong. We're not that fast. I mean, there are a lot of other apex predators out there that outrun us. If you're being chased down by another animal, you're most likely going to get caught. I mean, we're talking animals that are huge. They could weigh up to a ton or more, and they could still catch us. Not to mention, we don't have the ability to run at top speed for a very long distance. We like to say the cheetah is the fastest animal on the planet, mammal on the planet. It runs faster than anything, but it can only do it for short bursts. However, they can run their top speed farther than we can. I mean, you have to train to do some of the things that you see, like in the Olympics. The average person is going to be completely winded running at top speed after about 100 to 200 yards. That's it. That's not very far. You put the fear of death behind somebody, and they can go for a lot. Adrenaline kicks in, and they can go for longer, but not at absolute flat out top speed. We can jog for a marathon, 25 miles, but look how long it takes us. 2 hours. We're not the biggest, baddest animal without our brains on this planet, by no means. We're probably, as far as mammals are concerned, we're probably the one of the most fragile. Only our brains keep us alive. Now, with that said, we have to understand that this planet, because it has so many hazards on it, that modern life has been able to separate us somewhat from those. From all the changes that happen on this planet. This planet is far from, many places, in Indiana right now is going through a quake storm. We don't have the ability to sense an earthquake. Many animals do. We don't know what's happening until the ground we actually feel the ground start shaking. We can't sense danger the way most animals can. Sure, we can get the heebie-jeebies or feel somebody. We're not in touch with that part of us. We just don't have that ability. Well, maybe we do. We just don't utilize it. But we have to use our brains in order to survive all this earth throws at us. This earth is not settled. The weather and climate is not settled. It is very violent. From earthquakes to volcanoes to tornadoes to windstorms like hurricanes and typhoons to rising seas, sea storms, to just plain flash flooding from rainstorms and thunder and light. We don't live on a settled planet. But it's amazing how we just sort of think that everything is going to always be copacetic, and we're always caught off guard when something major happens. And the something major has never been rare. It's never, but we always think, well, it's not going to happen until it does happen. And then what do you hear? What do you hear people always say? Well, I didn't think this would ever happen to me. That's because we're not using our brains. If you live in a floodplain, you better expect at some point in time you could be flooded out, and you need to be prepared for that. If you live in hurricane zone, at some point in time, you better expect there to be a hurricane come blowing through your area. If you live in an earthquake zone, you better expect at some point there's going to be a major earthquake. If you live in the northern climes, you better expect at some point there's going to be a major snowstorm and freezing temperatures. If you live in the southern climes, you better expect at some point there's going to be droughts and there's going to be a blistering heat. None of this is new to us. History is even before all our modern instruments, history has recorded these extremes, and they're not rare. We've gotten smarter about some of it. We've been able to build technology and buildings that are able to withstand some of this. So fewer people die today than used to, but people used to die all the time from normal, everyday weather extremes. Hurricane Irma is no different. We get the warnings way ahead of time now. Before, you didn't know this. You woke up one day and the sky got cloudy. Next thing you know, you're being, pelted with 100+ mile per hour winds. Today, we get notice sometimes weeks in advance. And yet we're still caught off guard. I don't get it. You still get people that say that even after they've lived through one, they say, and it happens again. I never thought it would happen again. There's only so much that we can do via technology to keep us safe. New Orleans, some point in the future, is going to get flooded again. Even after Irma passes through, at some point, we're going to get another Category 5 down in Hurricane Alley. At some point in time, you live in Tornado Alley. You're going to get tornadoes that rip through your town. Why are we always caught off guard? Even when people tell us ahead of time, the people supposedly in the know, oh yeah, this is going to be a bad hurricane, or this is going to be this thunderstorm, this whole front, it can produce hundreds of tornadoes. Some of them could be, F3, F4, F5. And people are still caught off guard. For the life of me, I just don't get it. And then we buy into all this drama that the lamestream media puts on us, and we get scared to death. Why? You know it's going to happen. You do the smart thing, you prepare as best you can, and if at all possible, you get out of the way. That's the smart thing to do. Other animals do it. They sense something is wrong or something's coming, they do their best to get out of the way. They don't hang around, and then you don't see them, little investigative chipmunk reporter going up to a moose. Well, did you expect this to happen, Mr. Moose? No, I didn't expect it to happen at all to me. They get out of Dodge as quickly as best they can. Or if they can't, then they find a way to hunker down and ride through it. I just don't understand how we get so caught off guard. And I don't understand with all our modern technology and our building codes why we can't build things today that are capable of withstanding more, not all the extremes, but more of the extremes that weather throws at us, that Mother Nature throws at us. We don't. To this day, if you live in Tornado Alley, I would not live in a trailer park. I would not live in a mobile home. I wouldn't be building my home and domicile and office buildings out of wood. These things would be brick, concrete, and stone, whatever. Now, again, if you get an F5 that blows right on top of you, nothing's going to survive that. But short of that, you got a better chance of surviving and your property surviving if you build properly. And people do the same thing. Look, we learned in Hurricane Andrew, you can't always trust government. All those communities, all those that were literally flattened because some government officials didn't do their jobs. Hey, we don't do what we're supposed to do as a regular citizen. We most likely get heavily fined and or thrown in jail. Government officials screw us, don't follow their own laws, and they get off scot-free. And then what do? Well, we do the other stupid human thing, is we go ahead and we re-elect the same people that got us into trouble in the first place. Just saying, folks. I mean, you gotta. This is what this program is all about: turning on your logical center in your brain, so that you think logically for yourself. That's what's going to keep you safe, your family safe, and you alive. Not following a bunch of other people, most of whom don't know what they're doing or what they're talking about. Just pay attention. Please.
Yes, love hurts. It can hurt emotionally, but more important, it can also hurt you physically. It can hurt you in a way which nobody who owns a hot tub and lives in California can afford to be unaware of. Yes, I'm talking about California hot tub rectal gonorrhea. This painful, incurable disease can make an enjoyable soak in a hot tub with family, friends, and dog into a literally unforgettable experience. If you catch California hot tub rectal gonorrhea, not only will you walk around feeling like you're about to pass a twisted sardine can lid, you'll also smell like a pile of burning tractor tires. So don't jump out of the frying pan and into the hot tub, because if you get California hot tub rectal gonorrhea, it'll really burn your ass.
This has been a public service message brought to you by the Citizens Against CHTRG Foundation. California hot tub rectal gonorrhea. We're not going to take it sitting down.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement,
But now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
Most of us can do a lot better at being prepared for the unexpected. And frankly, the unexpected is far more expected than we like to give credit for. But I'm always amazed when people run out and they buy out everything. You know, you don't need to buy bottled water. Most areas of the country, tap water is sufficient, especially in an emergency. It's fine. I mean, what's amazing to me is that, you go to New York City and all these people buy tap water in New York City. Do you realize New York City has some of the cleanest and best water anywhere in the planet? New York City has some of the best. They've done tests. It's some of the cleanest and best water out there, anywhere. And yet you get all these fools running around buying bottled water. Right. Clean out a few empty jugs or thermoses, fill it up with tap water. Yeah, and you don't need to have, cases and cases of water. Generally speaking, unless the shit really hits the fan, just enough to get you by for 2 or 3 days is sufficient. You don't have to be one of these doomsday preppers. I think we all could do a little bit better job of being prepared. Just the basics: having a flashlight, having enough water to cook with and drink for 2 or 3 days. And that's, and if you're worried about water quality and you can't store that much, then get a water filter. That also works. I mean, it just, all you got to do is just think logically about this. We have the ability and the products now that we don't have to make everything. You could buy, some beef jerky, and you could buy some, granola bars and things like that. That stuff keeps for nearly forever. Keep that in stock. It's not hard. It doesn't take special abilities. Just think a little bit. That's all it takes. And I know it's hard to do that, especially when you have stories like this. This whole DACA thing. It's because people aren't. I'm amazed at people talking about, we're ripping. If we send the Dreamers back, we're ripping families apart. Now, do you realize that most of the 800,000 or so Dreamers that came here illegally? Many of them came here without their parents or close family relatives. Yeah, sure, some of them had their family, their parents and family members were able to follow them later. Due to Obama. But many of them still, this is the only country they've ever known. Well, BS. Their family's back in their home country. You've got people here that do not believe that. They believe their entire family is here, legally. And if you send just them back, they're going to be all alone. They're not going to be all alone. That's the sheer stupidity, because nobody stops and think for a minute. Well, the kid, these DACA kids, they came here by themselves. Their parents, their families put them on a train that was headed north. Put them on an airplane that was headed north of the border. That's how we got them all. And when Obama refused to stop them, that's how we got more of them. And some of them, after they were here for a little while, 1 or 2 of their parents were able to join them. We got to put the families back together type of thing. Remember Bill Clinton and Elian Gonzalez. Now, Elian Gonzalez could have, by today's standards, would be a dreamer. But what did we do? A lot of people were upset about it, but what Bill Clinton did is he reunited little Elian with his father. He didn't send him back to Cuba because little Elian and little Elian didn't have anybody to, there for him. His whole family was still there. Well, he had family members here, but his daddy was back in Cuba. So we sent them back. That's exactly what all these 800,000 need to do. Go back. I'm not being cruel, not being mean. If their family is not here, meaning their parents, then that means that if they're still alive, they're still back in their home country. Send them back. You can't have open borders. Because then you end up with a country that doesn't belong to you. This is simple stuff that if you just stop and think about it for at least a second, you'll realize that all this other stuff that we're being told or being fed is a bunch of BS. And it only happens because people don't think. That's how the lamestream media is able to do what they do, is because they rely on the masses not thinking for themselves.
You might be surprised to learn who has Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis. Nearly 1 in 200 Americans are suffering with the debilitating pain and constant disruption of these inflammatory bowel diseases, or IBD. Chances are you know someone with IBD. For example, your neighbor or coworker. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation was created to help patients cope and to find a cure. People with IBD can't wait. Won't you help someone you know? Visit www.escapethestall.com today.
Were you born from 1945 to 1965? People born during these years are 5 times more likely to have hepatitis C, but most people don't know they are infected. So even if you try to eat right, exercise, and take care of yourself, you can still have hepatitis C, a serious liver disease that often has no symptoms. In fact, people can live with hepatitis C for decades without feeling or looking sick. But over time, hepatitis C can cause serious health problems, including liver damage, liver failure, or even liver cancer. Getting tested is the only way to know if you're infected with hepatitis C. That's why the CDC recommends everyone born from 1945 to 1965 get a blood test for hepatitis C. Treatments are available that can cure this disease. So talk to your doctor about getting tested. It could save your life. A message from the CDC.
Everyone is talking about healthcare these days. America spends twice that of other developed countries on our healthcare system, yet our health ranks near the bottom. How can we stop spending so much and getting so little? Shifting to a system based on primary care can help fix the problem. Patients with a primary care doctor live longer, healthier lives and are less likely to suffer from cancer, heart disease, or stroke. Primary care that is comprehensive and coordinated also saves money. Patients who have a primary care doctor spend 30% less on health care than patients who don't. States with a high number of primary care doctors have lower health care costs and higher quality care. Primary care can help make America healthy again. To learn more about the benefits of primary care, visit www.healthisprimary.org. This message is brought to you by America's Family Physicians.
It's been called shell shock, war neurosis, and battle fatigue. Today, we call it post-traumatic stress disorder, and it affects 1 out of every 5 warriors returning from battle in Iraq and Afghanistan. The Wounded Warrior Project offers comfort and support for warriors with PTSD and all other scars of war, whether those scars are visible or hidden. Find out how to help, because for warriors, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. Please visit woundedwarriorproject.org.
The Amazon's rainforest is being cut down so fast that by 2030, 55% of it could be completely wiped out. The Earth's forests can't speak up when they need help, but we can. Be the voice for those who have no voice. Visit worldwildlife.org.
There's a threat targeting America. One that's growing fast, but may still be hard to see. Lyme disease. Spread by tiny ticks, often smaller than the head of a pin. This dangerous disease is now more widespread than West Nile, tuberculosis, and HIV/AIDS combined. And if left untreated, it can lead to arthritis, facial paralysis, and even memory and concentration problems, often called brain fog. As the threat of Lyme disease grows to more than 300,000 projected cases each year, it's time for us to target Lyme disease. That means checking for ticks when you've been outside, even in your own backyard. It means seeing a doctor if you experience the symptoms of Lyme disease, which can include joint pain, flu-like symptoms, fever, fatigue, or sometimes a bullseye-shaped rash. Set your sights on stopping Lyme. Learn how you can target Lyme disease at targetlyme.org.
Dad, we need to talk.
Can we just enjoy the drive?
If you're not going to listen to me, who will we listen to?
Jeffrey. Marcia Gay Harden, what?
Eyes on the road, Dad.
What are you doing? What are you doing in my back seat? How did you get in here?
You're getting older.
Not that old.
Your brain's changing. It's natural.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Honey, I've got experience with this. Jeffrey, brain health is all about making the most of your brain as you age and helping to reduce some of the risks to your brain.
Really? Now that's interesting.
So, you'll talk to her about this, but not me. Marcia Gay Harden? Where did she go?
Learn what you can do to help keep your brain healthy at brainhealth.gov. She didn't say goodbye. I mean, I would have. Visit brainhealth.gov.
Bring the rain.
3226, that is the call-in hotline number, should you wish to utilize that within the remaining minutes of the program here. Rahm Emanuel. to talk about not using your brain. I don't know how this guy even got elected, let alone reelected, but Rahm Emanuel, the Chicago mayor, has just created, and this is from the Washington Times, has just created a Trump-free zone for students at Chicago area schools. I kid you not. I don't know how that. I suppose you can't wear any shirt that says you're pro. Any kid can't wear a shirt that says he's pro-Trump. They could probably wear a Che Guevara shirt though. But here's the story: Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel yesterday assured incoming high schoolers that they need not worry about President Trump ending the Dreamers program, saying Chicago public schools are a Trump-free sanctuary for young illegal immigrants. Now, first of all, if Trump wanted to, you see, there are certain areas that the federal government doesn't need the assistance of local or state authorities. One of those few areas, has to deal with federal law. That's immigration. That is constitutionally embedded federal law. It's immigration. Keeping the border safe. So if Trump wants to send in ICE agents, they don't need the permission or the assistance of local authorities in that particular case. A state does not have an individual state, and this has been, when Texas tried to do certain things and Arizona tried to do, and we had they got sued, and the federal judges said no, that's the purveyance of the federal government, constitutionally speaking. In other words, with those wonderful liberal judges that tried shutting down individual states and municipalities from trying to protect their citizens from illegals and saying they can't do it. What that also meant, a lot of people don't realize this, but what it also meant is that localities cannot prevent the federal government from doing their duty when it comes to constitutionally embedded law. So this whole notion of having, a Trump-free zone or a sanctuary city No, there is no such thing. If the federal government wanted to send in a bunch of agents and do a sweep and catch, and they have, and courts on both sides, liberal and conservative judges have upheld this. If they want to do a sweep, and they have in the past, and catch as many illegals as they can in that sweep, they can go to a high school and do this exactly the same thing. Now, the thing is that they're not, if you're still in high school, well, they're not interested in the high school student. They're most likely interested in the parents who brought the kids here in the first place. They're not going to go to a high school. I mean, this is something that Rahm Emanuel is just, again, creating drama where there is none. I don't know of a single instance where ICE agents have raided a local public school. Anybody have that? I mean, I'm not saying it's never happened. I just haven't heard of one. Has anybody ever heard of such a thing? What they usually do is they like they did in Massachusetts a few times, is they go to different employers where they know illegals are, and they raid the employer. I mean, but they don't raid the school. They don't even raid colleges. Hey, this is just stupid. Now, Rahm Emanuel's out there saying, "Don't worry, you high school students, because this is a sanctuary city. This is a Trump-free city. You're in a Trump-free zone." Well, they don't got to raid the school in order if they want to catch children. They don't got to go into the school. They just wait for the kids to come out of school. But they can't. Even Rahm Emanuel and the Chicago PD can't stop ICE agents from going into the school and taking out illegal kids. Can't do it. Courts have already said it. Can't do it. You can't stop them. This is constitutionally embedded law. This is not something that the federal government made up. I mean, this is, this is also the thing about this whole DACA thing. It's not the president's job to write a law. The president can't write law anyway. Only Congress can do that. So what Obama did with this whole Dreamers thing is he wrote a law via executive order, which is unconstitutional. So all Trump did was say, well, let's make it easy for Congress. We'll just get rid of this executive order, which is already unconstitutional. So I'm going by executive order, remove an unconstitutional law. Now Congress has to do their job. Congress got away with this stuff by letting Obama. They did it. The Republicans allowed Obama to do a lot. So they didn't have to do their job. And it's the same thing with this whole immigration thing. And now Trump is saying, look, you guys need to do your job. Come up with a law. If you want to, if we're going to reform immigration, we don't need to reform immigration, by the way. Let me be clear about that. Reform means amnesty. I don't care how you put it. That's exactly what happened to Ronald Reagan back in the 80s. Well, let's reform immigration. What it meant was amnesty. No, we've already got laws in the books. We don't need to reform. We don't need to reform anything. What needs to be reformed? What they're talking about is amnesty. Everybody who already came here, who's already here illegally, we want to, make them citizens automatically. We don't want to hold them accountable for breaking our laws. We want to, basically we want to give a few million people a pardon. That's what amnesty is, folks. It's a mass pardon. Because, well, Rod, you got to understand and know that the vast majority of illegal immigrants are not criminals. Every single one of them is a criminal. You see, illegal means something. They did not cross the border legally. That makes them a criminal. I don't care how old they are. Now, sure, they're not of the kind of criminal that should be jailed, but hey, we've got people in our jails right now that have committed far less crime egregious crimes than people crossing the border. But hey, they're American citizens. So they can be held accountable for their actions, can't they? So why is it that American citizens can be held accountable for their actions, but illegal immigrants cannot be held accountable for their actions? And if you want to use this stupid case where you're going to rip families apart, no, we're not the ones doing it. We're enforcing our laws. These people come here illegally. They know they came here illegally. So they're the ones ripping families apart. I don't hear anybody talking about, somebody because they're a drug addict or they had too much pot being sent to jail. I don't see anybody saying, well, you're ripping families apart by sending daddy to jail because he had pot on him. Nobody, you hear anybody complain about that? No, nobody's complaining about that. I mean, real families are being torn apart by our judicial system. Why? Because people choose to break the law. We're not society itself, by having a law, well, I mean, you could say some laws are unjust and stupid, granted. But for the most part, society is not the ones ripping families apart. It is the people who are breaking the law that is doing that. It's no different when it comes to this illegal immigration issue. I don't care if you send your five-year-old Johnny on a train that ends up north of the border. You did that. And frankly, if the parents came to join illegal little Johnny and Susie, and you send little Johnny and Susie back, well, then that means the parents no longer have a reason to be here, so send them back too. That takes care of ripping families apart, doesn't it? Send whole families back if that's the case. Again, I'm not being cruel. You go to any other country on this planet, and that's exactly what they'll do. But for some reason, we're supposed to be the only country on the planet that can't uphold its own laws. I mean, that's just, it's ludicrous. It's insanity. It's just plain stupid. By the way, there are countries that have much tougher immigration laws than we do. Mexico comes to mind. And this has been talked about over and over again, but yet the left just seems to ignore that every single time you bring it up. Mexico has a wall on its southern border, by the way. Because they don't want, the Guatemalans and Ecuadorians and Hondurans crossing their border illegally. Oh, no, they don't want that at all. But Mexico can put up a fence and a wall on its southern border, but we can't. Mexico can tell all of those Central Americans, we don't want you here illegally, but then they chastise us for not wanting they're illegal immigrants. Kind of hypocritical, right? Well, it's only hypocritical because we've allowed them to do that for so many years. That they've come to think that the United States is just open borders. And no, we're not a great nation simply because of immigration. That is a part of our history, yes, but it is not all of our history. By saying we're only a great nation because of immigrants makes it sound like that those who are native, who are legal citizens, are just complete and total boobs and idiots that can't do a damn thing without an illegal immigrant coming across the border. That is far from the case. And even back when we did have massive immigration, we had rules and laws in place. Not everybody who came here got to stay here. Even back then, that's also a little-known fact to the left. Even back in the day when we had Ellis Island, not everybody who came here got to stay here. There were a lot of people that got put on boats and turned away and put on boats and sent back to their home country. They got sent from whence they came. Not everybody got to stay. And yet now we're supposed to believe that everybody who comes here is supposed to be able to stay? No, that's never, ever been the case. As long as we've been a nation. And we started to say we needed to be able to control our borders and who gets to come in and who can't. Our country has not always been open borders. especially since the turn of the last century, and especially since after the close of World War I. Countries for decades now, for a century now, have said, no, we get to control who comes to our country and who gets to stay and who doesn't get to come in. This is not new. And as a matter of fact, it's always been the case, even throughout history. Not everybody got to stay in ancient Egypt. Although they often didn't send people back. They used to just catch people, call them spies, and execute them. But we don't do that anymore. I mean, people don't realize that in history. Do you know how they controlled their borders back in the day? They would catch somebody who did not sound or look like them, accuse them of being a spy, put them in jail where they died in the dungeons, or they executed them as a spy. That's how they controlled their borders back then. Now we just send people back. That's how countries control their borders today. So being a dreamer should not give you special privileges simply because you were a child when your parents sent you here. It's not the way countries stay countries. It's not the way they stay secure. And indeed, when you start letting people into your country unchecked, that's when you start having problems. I think Europe is learning that problem right now.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
You've got people in Brooklyn who were marching across the Brooklyn Bridge protesting the Trump administration ending DACA. So in other words, they were protesting the government upholding the law. Yeah, they want a law. They want lawbreakers in their city. Don't check them out. Don't go through the right processes and make everybody else around the world follow the natural processes of coming to this country, but not illegals walking across the border from our south, right? Oh, okay. Makes a hell of a lot of, let's just protest upholding the law. But and you have news anchors that are that are just beside themselves that Trump would even do this. That Trump would reverse an unconstitutional edict from a previous president. I mean, that's. Have you also noticed something about anchors and anchorettes? This is. I mean, you rarely see an old haggard female anchor on TV, do you? It's true, you don't. Unless they're like Barbara Walters and they've made a really big name for themselves, you don't see them. All the anchorettes, we call them anchor babes and anchorettes for a reason, because they tend to be young, very good looking, pleasing to the eye. None of them I haven't seen a fat female anchor yet. Now, guys, on the other hand, they could be old, disheveled, gray-haired, older than the hills, ugly. Even if they're younger, they don't have to be good looking. They don't have to be in shape. They could be a blob sitting there. We got, look, we've got an anchor in one of our local stations. We got a couple of them in Boston and New Hampshire area that the guys are older than the hills. The women, on the other hand, the guy's been there forever, but they've gone through numerous female co-anchors, and they're all babes. Just saying. And look, these are supposed to be, liberal outlets, right? They're supposed to be, everybody, has worth and value. Well, I guess you don't have any worth or value to be on camera if you're an old haggard female. Just saying. I just made that observation. Sorry about that. If you get upset with that, California lawmakers are set to name a stretch of 134 freeway in honor of President Obama. It's going to be known as the President Obama Freeway instead of just I-34. That's the State lawmakers yesterday gave final approval to designating a section of the 134 freeway as the President Barack H. Obama Highway in honor of President number 44. Supporters of the measure will now raise the private funds needed to place signs with Obama's name along the section of 134 between the 210 freeway and the number 2 freeway, which includes Glendale, Pasadena, and Eagle Rock, California. Californication out there. Yes, indeed. Isn't that a little racist to be naming? I don't know. Maybe not. In any case, he's getting a highway named after him. Well, by the same token, Charlottesville, Virginia, the council votes to remove another president's statue. Charlottesville Council votes to remove Confederate statue after a tense hearing. Yes, that would be Stonewall Jackson. He was a president, right? I'm just asking. I mean, I obviously don't know my history at all. He was terrible. He was a terrible general, and we can't honor. Hey, we can't honor every president. Just hey, this is a person that even the North had to vote for at the time in order for him to be. Well, I know that's ridiculous to even think about that kind of thing. And finally today, a daughter of a diplomat stabs another boy at a British international school at British International School in Washington. Are they going to have to rip this person away from? As a daughter of a diplomat, the girl will not be prosecuted, so say police. So she stabbed another boy in her class, I guess. But hey, she's above the law because she's a diplomat's daughter, and because she's a diplomat's daughter, she won't be prosecuted for stabbing a citizen. Just saying. Yeah. Lovely stuff out there, folks. Well, that sound obviously means that we're out of time for this Wednesday morning, and it is now soon to be Wednesday afternoon, so you guys go out there and have a good one. We'll be back here in 21 hours tomorrow morning, along with the expected return of the full military tribute Thursday. Yes, doing things a little bit differently tomorrow, so you're going to want to be here for that. Until then, have a wonderful Wednesday afternoon. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Rod Eccles. I'm out.
Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. A shameless politician always plays her cards right. Got a crew for the fight on the airwaves. Lapdogs in the press keep their mouths tight. Cause a Clinton never needs to explain what, why it is what they done or with who. A real Clinton knows that they're entitled, and you don't get to know what they do.
What difference does it make?
For a Clinton, what's loaded in some fat Apple file? A Clinton plays the victim for promotion. A Clinton kills it off with a smile. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. A server full of secrets ain't no thing. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. Nothing ever hits with the sting.